I really feel like God spoke to me about this is a way that you can help to empower your community, right? If we create an environment, a safe place for us to have conversation, to share resources, to network, empower, motivate, and inspire one another, if we understand how we can use our specific specialized skill set and use that in an entrepreneurial way, then we can really change how healthcare is delivered in this country as well as worldwide.
Welcome to the Sharice Williams Show, the podcast dedicated to helping nurses create, launch, and scale their holistic health coaching businesses to six figures and beyond without sacrificing their freedom, without sacrificing their health, and without sacrificing their fun. With that said, I'm so excited to have this episode, to bring this episode to you today, because we have a special guest. And you guys know I only bring you the best of the best because you and I are the best of the best. So I take that very, very seriously. So today's topic, today's discussion is embracing the evolution of business. And I have none other than the phenomenal Alvionna Brewster with us today. So, hey, Alvionna.
Hello. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. You guys, let me formally introduce you to Alvionna, and then we will hop on in. So Alvionna Brewster has been a registered nurse since 2005. Throughout her career, she has primarily specialized in cardiovascular care, health maintenance, and preventative medicine. Alvionna currently holds a master's degree in nursing education and is an international speaker, author, educator, and consultant. Alvionna is the founder and CEO of Black Nurse Entrepreneurs, the premier organization to network, empower, and encourage entrepreneurship amongst Black nurses. She is also the owner of Abundant Seeds Health Solutions, a consulting firm dedicated to providing health and wellness resources to individuals and companies. She is passionate about the success of nurses, helping patients to understand and manage their disease processes, and she is passionate about the advancement of African Americans. She also loves to mentor, encourage, and motivate people to live their best lives. Please help me welcome Alvionna Brewster.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Oh, you are so welcome. So I know I just kind of shared your bio, your intro, if you will, but what did I leave out? Tell me something that I don't know.
Let's see. Well, first and foremost, I am a country girl from East Texas, born and raised, very proud of that. And I moved up here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area in 2005. I'm sorry, in 2007, after a couple of years of nursing. I think a couple of the things that people don't know, I have literally played almost every sport known to man since very little, from twirling to gymnastics to cheerleading, all the way up to volleyball, basketball, track, softball, you name it. I pretty much have done it. On the other side, I have an artsy side to me. So I've also can create and craft things. And that was my introduction actually into business. So I was crafting, I can draw and paint and make little knickknacks and whatever, gadgets and stuff. And I was giving it to people. And that was my introduction into business before I actually knew what business really was. Okay. Yeah. So that was the intro. And my introduction into nursing really was because of my mother. She is a registered nurse of like 40, 42, 43 years, something like that. Wow. And she was the person that I saw and imitated, of course, growing up. And then that led me to going into nursing as well as my brother. So we are a family of registered nurses. Yes, ma'am.
Well, how interesting is that? That's so cool. I love that.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah. And so what were you making again? What were the things that you were making? Like bracelets or?
Almost whatever, honestly.
Really? Yeah. And were you selling them or were you like giving them?
No, I was selling them.
Oh, good for you.
I was a little hustler.
God, I love it. Okay.
I was a crafting hustler.
I love it. That is
a little bit of everything, literally. Okay. Sewing. Yeah, I'll just have to show you one day.
Okay, you'll have to show
tons of stuff, jewelry, you name it. I've pretty much done it.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I was I've been an entrepreneur for a long time also. I was the kid that made cookies, and I actually make tea cake. Well, I make cookies, like chocolate chip cookies, and but it was not just chocolate chip. Let me just tell you, it was like chocolate chip, and it had coconut and pecans. It was like really, really good. To this day, my older brother still asks me, can you make those? Like he calls them $1 million cookies. And I'm like, if I can remember the recipe, I don't make them very much anymore, but they were good. But I would make little tea cakes and I would put them in little two in a bag and I would give them to my dad to take them to work. And he would take them to work and sell. I don't know if he sold them or if he just gave him the money for them, but I know he didn't come back home with the tea cakes. So anyway, but that was
his lunch money. He sold it.
Yeah, right?
He got lunch money.
That was fun. Anyway, so how long at this point officially have you been an entrepreneur? It sounds like you've been an entrepreneur for a while, unofficially, but
I would say officially. There's variations. This topic is about the evolution of business, right?
The evolution of business.
I'll put it to you like this: 2012 was the crafting. B&E, the community, was in 2015, and then I also started CPR teaching in 2016. Okay. But the year that I actually went ahead and filed an LLC and did all of that stuff was 2019.
2019.
So that's probably my official. What are we at? 4 years now?
Yeah. I love it. And what was it? What made you decide, you know what? I should make this an official thing. I should literally file an LLC and make this a real entity.
I think I was already doing the work of a business person, a business owner, and creating an environment of business owners allowed me to learn the process and the behind the scenes pieces that I was missing. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't really know. It's a little bit more than just an email and a PayPal account. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
Hey, that's what I was running at first. So I didn't realize
it can work. It can work.
However,
yeah.
I didn't realize there were so many behind the scenes details. And as I was starting to grow, a lot of people were like, hey, this is really a business. Hey, you should think about doing X, Y, Z. And once I got a coach, the coach helped me to understand, okay, you need this, you need this, you need this, and you need to have this done by X amount of time, because we can't move the business forward until you've done these parts of the process. So I was like, okay. I think I want to say another thing too, for your audience. This is incredibly important. I want to really hone in on the value of protecting your intellectual property.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yes.
So one of the reasons why I decided, let me go ahead and get it formalized as a business, and let me go ahead and file my federal trademarks, is because we were picking up some steam. People were starting to know us. People were starting to copy me. And this is my baby. I truly believe that God gave this vision to me. And part of the vision is for me to protect the baby at all costs. So it was important for me to invest the money and the time into doing just that thing.
That is so important, man. You brought up a couple of really great points. I want to first talk about, we're going to work from the most recent thing backwards. You talked about protecting your baby, protecting your IP. And so I'm interested to know, what was it in your mind that made this switch? Because a lot of times when we're new in business, we're like, oh, this is just my thing, my little business or whatever. And so when did you recognize, or how did you recognize that, no, this is actually a legitimate business and I do need to protect it moving forward, even if it's a small business? Because it sounded like you recognized that pretty early in the process.
Yeah. With launching B&E in 2015, and then I had a conversation with an attorney in 2016 about the process to get a federal trademark for it, right? But it wasn't until a few years later that I actually moved forward with the trademark. We were picking up steam. Like people were really starting to talk about us. They were sharing the information. They were saying, oh my God, this is great. I'd never heard of this before. So with the visibility and the popularity always comes other issues. And I was like, I really am going to have to spend the money and get it protected. And I will say that on the flip side of that, during that time, I actually had launched a book. And the book was an anthology. And one of the ladies in B&E had launched several books ahead of me. And I went to her and I asked her, because I was on the fence whether I should try to copyright it or not, right? And one thing that she said to me that stuck with me, she said, again, you want to protect the things that are yours at all costs. And so even though it was an anthology, I did a copyright on my portion
chapter.
Of the anthology. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I always preach to people, get the business structured properly. And part of you structuring it properly will help you to protect it, because it's also a compliance piece. We want to operate in integrity, and we also want to operate in compliance.
Absolutely.
So I didn't want anything to snatch all of this hard work from me. So I need to protect it at all costs.
Yeah. I'm so glad you had that foresight. Because again, a lot of people just look at it like, oh, it's just my little thing. And no. And here's the thing. It might very well be just a little thing right now. But we were talking about this off camera. You know, once the ball gets rolling, you're momentum's a heck of a thing. And you're just going with the momentum. And you want to make sure that you're building on a strong foundation. And so, and particularly when that momentum is like flowing and going, you sometimes forget those things, protecting your baby and getting things trademarked and that type of thing, copywritten. Thank you. Because there's so many other pressing issues, because now you have this huge business that, like I said, so it's great. It's so important that you, again, shore up that foundation from the beginning.
For sure.
From the beginning. So yeah, you also talked about, tell everybody what BNE is, because I know you're saying BNE. I know I said BNE. I know I mentioned Black Nurse Entrepreneur, but what exactly is it?
It is the premier organization for Black nurses who are interested in launching, building, and growing their businesses, entrepreneurial endeavors worldwide. So basically what I did was I created initially a social media platform of nurses, Black nurses, and no disrespect to anybody else, but I really feel like God spoke to me about, this is a way that you can help to empower your community, right? If we create an environment, a safe place for us to have conversation, to share resources, to network, empower, motivate, and inspire one another, if we understand how we can use our specific specialized skill set and use that in an entrepreneurial way, then we can really change how healthcare is delivered in this country as well as worldwide. And that was the initial thought going into it. And that's the thing that I've kind of sort of maintained throughout the whole entire process, right? And so what I value about BNE is being able to bring us together and showing us that nursing can actually be done outside of what we traditionally think it as, right? And we can have such an amazing impact and do it on our terms, right? Not really having to answer to anybody, but really having the autonomy to practice nursing the way we are led to practice it. Of course, within the scope of our nursing practice and legally, but to have the autonomy and the freedom to say, hey, I want to empower X amount of nurses to pass NCLEX. So I'm going to launch my NCLEX tutorial business or whatever, you know.
Yeah. And, you know, that's a really great point too. There are literally women in BNE, Black Nurse Entrepreneur, business owners from everything from scrubs, to NCLEX, to holistic health coaches, to business coaches, to fill in the blank. I mean,
CPR, CNA, concierge nursing. We have Airbnb. We have non-medical transport, assisted living. Y'all got to think about the silver tsunami. So we have the group of nurses that are assisted living, group homes, adult daycare, transportation services, things like that. Private practice. We have quite a few private practice, IV hydration. The list goes.
It's like the full spectrum.
It
full
really
spectrum.
Is.
And I love that, because it really does shine a light on, we can do anything as nurses.
Anything.
I mean, as if you can think it, you can really, I know it sounds cliche, but if you can think it, you can be it. And I love that. Like I said, just about every little niche is really represented in Black Nurse Entrepreneur. From brick and mortar to online businesses and in everything, combination of hybrids, all of that.
Absolutely. A group of us have been in real estate, and we just actually are in the process of purchasing a hotel internationally. So it really is, it's one of those things where you've been called to do something, but the amazing part about it is, if you are obedient to what the calling is, God will even allow you to watch the abundance. Right. If you're just obedient, just do as you have been instructed and called to do. He'll allow you to watch the outcomes, the abundance of it, and he'll also allow you to get to reap some of the benefits of the abundance. So I
Absolutely.
literally have grown as a person, as a leader, because my life as a nurse is totally different than my life as a nurse entrepreneur. Two
Yeah.
totally different things.
Yeah, and speak to that a little bit because I know that we had a roundtable discussion
Mhm.
inside of Black Nurse Entrepreneur a couple of weeks ago that I had the pleasure of being on. And one of the things that we talked about is, um, well, that you spoke specifically on is who you were as like your personality as a nurse versus really your true and authentic self now as an entrepreneur. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, what I want to say is, my nursing journey was a tough one. It was a challenging one. I did. I am proud of the ability to help a lot of people get better and get out of the hospital. But oftentimes, what one thing that we just do not talk about enough is the stressors and the pressures of
Mhm.
nursing. And at the end of the day, we have to recognize that we have people's lives in our hand, and oftentimes it's multiple people all at once, right?
Right. Mhm.
And unfortunately, hospital systems don't really see that sometimes, I think. They don't really know exactly what the nurse is having to go through down on the bedside level, right?
Day in and day out. Yeah,
Day
I
in,
would
day
agree.
out. And
Mhm.
then we are the person, no, again, no disrespect to any other discipline in the hospital because I strongly believe in an interdisciplinary team. I do.
Mhm.
But we are there 12, 13, 14 hours with the
We are
person,
there.
sun up, sundown, through sickness and health to death do us
Most
part.
part.
Okay.
Amen. Exactly.
We're
It's
there.
so true.
We're
It's so
there.
true.
And so we experience a lot, we deal with a lot. And that wore on me. That wore on me,
Mhm.
the pressure, um, the stress of it, the demands of it really, really wore on me. And when I stepped back out of it and allowed myself to kind of purge and
Mhm.
de-stress and detox a little bit,
Mhm.
then I started experiencing the peace that I had never experienced really as an adult. I started feeling like I did back when I was a young person,
Wow.
a teenager, and I felt freer. I felt like I could be back myself, really, really caring for people and really being invested in people. And that's how I knew that this was my lane right here. Where I'm at right
Mhm.
now, this is how I knew it was the lane because this is the thing that I could do day in and day out, right?
Right.
I could do it effortlessly. Nursing was the thing that I could do, and I felt like I was serving, I was helping people, I obviously was making money to sustain my household. But this right here, empowering other nurses to understand how we can use our skill set to skyrocket our businesses
Absolutely.
has been a game changer for me personally.
Yeah. And isn't it so fun? I find this is one of the things I find most fun and most fascinating that we and the roles that we are in, we get to help shatter belief barriers. We get to help shatter limiting beliefs that have been put on us either by our industry or by society
Mhm.
of one, what women can make, two, what nurses can make,
Absolutely.
three, what Black female nurses can make. There's a lot of stipulations, limitations that have really been ingrained in us since I'm going to say nursing school, really.
Yeah.
And what I love about being an entrepreneur, being a nursepreneur, is that you get to shatter all of that. And I don't
Mhm.
care if you're white, black, purple, you
Yep.
get to shatter that should you choose to. You get to
Absolutely.
be as creative as you want to be. The ideas that have been floating around in your head, you're like, oh my God, I'd love to do this. Well, let's do it.
Mhm.
Like, let's do it. And you can legitimately do it and have so much fun. One thing that I heard you say was peace.
Yep.
Peace. And I just wonder, how many, those of you who are listening, if you're still working bedside, and that's fine, no judgment or anything towards that. But I just wonder how you and your personality and your emotional health would shift if you were in a different environment.
Yes.
If in a different environment. Yeah.
If you had the ability to protect those core values that we talk about,
Yeah.
if
Yep.
you had the ability to have the autonomy that we so desperately want and need, if
Hmm.
you had the ability to not necessarily feel micromanaged, but empowered and inspired to
That's
create,
it. Yep.
to innovate, to impact. If you had the ability to use your degree, your expertise, your knowledge, and your personality to the full extent of what you've been called to do,
Unapologetically.
unapologetically,
Yes.
how would you truly feel about the profession, your career, and what you're able to do with it?
Yeah. Yeah. Night and day. Night and day. Yeah. So good. And so one of the things that you mentioned before was you hired a coach. And it sounds like you hired a coach pretty early in your journey. I know I did. I hired a coach. No, you didn't? Okay. I was going to say I hired a coach very early in my journey because I knew I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew that I was good at what I did. However, I didn't know really how to do the other stuff, how to really like make it a business. And so I didn't want to be that person wandering around in the wilderness for 40 years. So I said, let me figure this, let me get help from the beginning. I don't want to take 40 years when it could take me a year or 2 years. So I'm interested to hear your story and your perspective.
This is a good one. I wish I would have. I wish I would have taken on the opportunity early on. I wish I would have understood the true value of having a mentor / coach / consultant or somebody early on. And I wish I would have really understood the value of investing in myself early on. The biggest issue that I faced is that I was dirt cheap. Simply put, I did not want to spend the money, didn't think I had the money to be able to invest. But what I've learned in the long run is it just costs me more money and more time. And more resources and more headache.
Stress.
To now hire somebody and have to go back and fix all the stuff that we should have put in place in the very beginning. So if I could give anything to those who are listening, I want you to understand the value of executing early on and not taking for granted those opportunities, because sometimes opportunities come and they go quickly. And if you don't grab a hold of them then and there, then you miss out. It may take you years to get back to that spot. And that's honestly something that I've kind of felt over the past year or two is, man, if I would have invested in coaching earlier, where would I be? So you got to think about, I didn't join a coaching program until about 18, 19-ish.
Okay.
Well, 12, I had started the crafting. 15 is when I started B&E. 16 is when I started CPR. So I had already been doing business-related activities for 5, 6, 7 years before I actually had a coach. And even the coach that I had, she took me as far as she could. You know, she took me, but she was building, she was learning too in the process. So what I can say is between the low tiered coach that I had then compared to the high ticket coaching that I'm in now is night and day. My access to be in a community of like-minded individuals where I not only get information from the coach, but I also get to ride off the expertise of other multi-million-dollar people
in the group. Absolutely.
In the group.
Yep.
And the ability to pick up the phone. I spent so many years hitting my head on the wall trying to figure out tech and operations and what's the SO who? What are we doing? You know what I mean? I spent years trying to figure out all these things that people were whispering and, oh, you really need to do this, or have you done that? Or, have you done your DUNS number yet? What is all this stuff they keep talking about?
Yeah. Here's the thing. You don't know what you don't know.
You don't.
You don't know what you don't know.
I want people to understand this. When you get a coach, not only are you investing in yourself, but you literally are getting the coach's experience too. You're getting all the coaching programs that they've been in. You're getting a piece of that as well. Yeah. So all of these years of their expertise, let's say your coach has been coaching for 10 years and they've been in business for 20. So you just added 20 years of expertise to your portfolio. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You can reach in and grab that expertise where I did not have that. So now I've had to play catch up. So y'all don't be like me, okay? Invest the money early on.
And so here's the thing too. What I heard you say is, it's not that you said you were cheap. It wasn't that you didn't have the money. You did. You were just cheap. But you didn't think you had it. Yeah. And I get that. I totally get that, because when I invested in my first coach, which is literally when I first started my business, I wasn't making any money from my business, but I'm like, I better figure this out. I better find some money, or it's going to take me forever to do what I want to do. And for some people, they're okay with that. And again, no judgment. I'm not that person. It sounds like you aren't really that person either, that wants to take forever to figure it out, because again, you don't know what you don't know. And so you're like walking around with the blindfold on, trying to figure it out. And here's the thing, we're smart cookies. We will eventually figure it out.
Right.
But notice I said eventually.
Yeah, it was going to take me 10 years probably.
Oh yeah.
To figure everything out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And here's the thing. I mean, you said, I heard you say you invested like in a lower ticket coach, and then now you're working with a high ticket coach. I was like straight out the gate. So I'm like, high ticket. Okay, where are you? Actually, here's the thing. I wasn't actually looking for a high ticket coach. I wasn't. And here's the thing. I actually consciously, I wasn't looking for a coach really, but it's something to be said about when you know that you need something on a subconscious level. When you know you need something, it appears. It appears. So someone appeared, and I'm like, oh, dang, she knows. Oh my God. Okay. How much is it going to cost to work with her? Oh, whoa. Okay. But guess what? Everything that I saw and everything that I heard, I'm like, I need her to dump her brain into my brain so I can move this, so I can make the type of impact that I'm wanting to make. And this is when I was, this is with my holistic health coaching business. And I was like, I will figure it out. So one thing that I know that we do as nurses, but particularly as women, when we want something bad enough, we figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
I just wish that I would have, because here's another thing. Oh, this is good stuff right here. Comfort. Comfort will leave you in a place of stagnation, right? You'll just sit. You'll be, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Even though there's parts of my career that I did not care for, I was comfortable because I was paying my bills. I was eating out when I wanted to. I was traveling when I wanted to. I wasn't really hurting for anything. Yeah. So initially, B&E was just a community that I ran, and I enjoyed running it and connecting people and stuff like that. I didn't really realize I had to change my mindset. Listen, this is good stuff. This is good. Let's stick with comfort first. I was comfortable in my career because my needs were being met. I never had to want for anything. Because the needs were being met, there was no push for me to make it a business and make it grow really exponentially quickly, right? There was no push for that because I had a 9-to-5. Why do I need another one, right? So even though the community was about business, I was making connections with everybody else and for everybody else. And their businesses were becoming multi-million-dollar businesses, but I was still working on the floor 12, 13, 14 hours, being tired, miserable, and bitter because I didn't get lunch that day. But they were skyrocketing very quickly. And that's because they executed on the tips and the advice that I was giving them, right? So mindset-wise, I had to change my mindset and recognize the gift that I've been given is meant to be given away, but I'm limited on how I can give that gift away because this is not a solidified, solid, monetized business. The moment I decided to monetize it was the moment that I had better resources to be able to help people even better in their businesses. I had to change my mindset about money and investments and access and how to build a solid business.
God, you've said a mouthful. Mindset plays such a huge part in life in general, but in business, it's everything. It's everything. And it definitely is a different mindset from working as a nurse, traditional nurse, to, okay, now I am a nursepreneur. Now I am a holistic health coach. Now I am a whatever, fill in the blank. It's a totally different mindset shift.
Different mindset.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned something about investing. You wish that you had invested earlier. Yeah. And because it would have saved you time. It would have saved you stress, headache.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah. Because I know a lot of people who are listening like, well, I'll figure it out. And you will. You'll figure it out. At what cost?
At what cost? Yep.
At what cost? Yeah. So very good. What has been the thing that you love thus far, love the most about being your own boss?
Freedom. Freedom, the ability to make my own decisions,
Yeah.
the ability to protect my values, my core values, and the things that I love.
Right.
I think the ability to have autonomy and to impact on my terms,
Yeah.
what it looks like for me. I spent years at the hospital trying to, hey, let's do this. What about that? Have we thought about that? All for the things to be shut down, right?
Right.
And so now I feel like I'm in a position where I get to call up somebody and I say, hey, have you thought about doing this with your business? And they say, oh, no, I haven't. Okay, hey, think about it. And then they go and execute on it. And then boom, they land a multi-million-dollar contract. It's
Beautiful.
really the impact
Yep.
that really blesses my spirit, to see how people are thriving and growing, to see how their mindsets have shifted and changed, to think that, oh, I was just a nurse working now I run my own clinic, or now I have my own. We have actually, I think we're at about 5 or 6 nurses within the group that have their own privately ran, independently operated LPN programs. That's big. That's pretty big.
That's huge.
Because you don't hear about that normally, right?
Right.
So it's things like that have truly blessed my spirit in this season of nurse entrepreneurship, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I would say one of the things that I love most, not that you asked, but no, I'm just kidding.
No, I want to hear.
I'm teasing. But really what I love most about being an entrepreneur, it's the freedom and the level of impact that I get to make. And I say get because it is a gift. It is an honor. It is a privilege. It is a joy that I get to make an impact in people's health on my own terms with my holistic health coaching business. And there's so much joy and satisfaction that I get from helping another nurse who is just like me create their own holistic health coaching business. Man, that's so dang freaking fun. It's amazing because here's the thing, and I say this all the time. I can't do it all by myself. I don't want to do it all by myself, but I can help you do it, and I can help her do it, and I can help her do it, and I can help her do it. And do you understand the ripple effect that has on the world in health? Oh my gosh, that literally, I literally get chills when I think about the impact that is made from what I get to do. It's no small feat.
One thing that I will say is this: when I worked on the floor, in my shift, I may touch 4, 5, 6, 7 patients. Right?
Oh my goodness, I forgot that was not ICU.
That wasn't ICU. I did tele at one point.
I freak out if it's more than 2.
I've had, yeah. So, anyways, we won't go down that line. Right. But on a given day, on a shift, let's say we average 5, 6 patients a piece, right? And I think about, if I can teach a nurse how to run their own whatever, or I could connect them with someone that can teach them how to run their own whatever, then that's just that many more lives that are impacted, right? Yeah. So I'm only getting to touch 5 or 6 people, but if I can teach 100 nurses how to pass NCLEX, then you multiply that by the average amount of people, then they are getting to touch many more people.
Impact.
Right?
Impact.
Exactly. So
yeah,
I think about that. But something I want to share with your audience about the difference, because you said there's a difference between nursing and nurse entrepreneurship, the mindset shift. I believe this is very important to say during this piece of it, is as a nurse on the floor, you're in a system, you're working in a system, right? And it's easier to work in a system that you don't have to create. So it's easier for you to go to school, get your degree, get put on the floor, they teach you the ropes, and you just do it. If the computer goes down, you call IT. If you want to be off, maybe you talk to scheduling, right? If there's an issue on the floor, you go to HR. Once you flip over into the nurse entrepreneurship world, you just so happen are that person.
You are the
everybody.
Person. Yeah.
So
until you build your business to a point where you
build it, right?
Build those divisions out. But
and I will say this too: those of you who are listening, please, even if you're not able to in the beginning, have the mindset early on that I've got to create this in the aspect so that when I hire people on,
Yes.
I can bring them in to the system that I'm creating, right? Don't think that this is going to be a solopreneur situation your whole entire life. We're creating. But the most important piece of this is the person that you have got to become in order to do and have those things that you're wanting.
Yeah.
If you're wanting a successful business, if you're wanting to be a 7-figure earner, there's a person that you must become. And part of becoming that person involves the mentorship, the leadership, the investment, the time spent, things like that. It involves doing things, tangibly doing things. We can sit here and pray about it all day and all night, but if you don't tangibly get out there and actually put action into your business, action into your legacy, then you won't have it.
Right. Well, faith without works is dead. We know that.
It's dead.
Yeah.
So it's the person that you've got to become. And part of that is that mindset piece is who do I need to become in order to have the successful nurse entrepreneurship business or business in general, really, business in general. Who do I got to become in order to impact the people that I'm called to impact? Yeah,
I love that. And, I would even add, because I'm always, language is so important to me because, and it's a biblical principle as well. Life and death lies in your tongue. And so not who do I have to become, but who do I get to become? Because this is the better version of you. It's the more evolved, highly conscious, a higher conscious version of yourself, which is such a beautiful thing. And it's a beautiful thing. Share with me, Alvionna, one thing, one trait, one thought, way of thinking that you got to let go of, so that you can be where you are right now as a very successful nursepreneur.
One thing.
I know, right? I know.
I got 25.
I know. Trust me. Trust me, I know.
The one thing that is probably the
okay.
Okay. Two. The biggest challenges that I face right now are overwhelm. So I'm in the process. I have team, and what I didn't realize as an entrepreneur is the freedom is great, but the freedom can also be your detriment if you don't control it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
So I didn't realize that. And because in the very beginning couple of years, I was like, I can get up when I want. I can do what I want. I don't have to have a schedule. That's led to overwhelm. So my team and I are in the process of creating structures and strategies and a schedule. I now have a more formalized schedule in order to control the overwhelm, but also to create boundaries, a systematic boundary that's in place that I have to not only enforce to the public, but I also have to respect myself, right? And I would say the other thing is probably maybe trying to overanalyze and overthink things.
That's a big one for us, because here's why it's such a pervasive issue with us as nurses. It's because it could mean the difference between life and death if we're not over analytical in healthcare, in business. No one's going to die if you don't, it's not a matter of life and death, quite honestly, but go ahead, continue with what you were saying.
I think what I've had to learn to do is this, and it took me doing the DISC assessment
I love that.
about 2 years ago for me to learn why I struggle with getting things to the forefront. And I struggle with it is because I'm detailed, right? So
you're a C personality.
Is it the C one? Yeah,
yes,
at the end.
Yes.
My friend's like, you're high C. You're high C. I'm like,
I can totally see that. But guess what?
I'm all of them. Okay.
But here's the thing. Yeah, and here's the reality of it is we're all a little bit of all four. But you're definitely a C personality, but you're a D also because D's get things done. So you would not have been able to create all that you've created if you didn't have a lot of D in you as well. But I can definitely see the C.
I think too, we are different people in different circumstances.
Absolutely.
As a nurse, I was high D.
I think most of us are high D.
High D. You know what I mean? as
by nature of of our job. Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, I'm more C. And by nature,
Mhm.
I'm a IC-ish
Are you
kind
an
of a
I?
person.
You're
Mhm, mhm,
not.
mhm,
Well,
mhm.
I'll have to do a whole episode on DISC personalities. I love it.
Yes,
I used to teach it all the
yeah,
time.
yeah. Oh,
Um,
that's good. This is good to
yeah,
know. That's good to
yeah.
know.
So wait,
Uh,
you're an I?
mhm,
Really? So
mhm.
I am naturally an I. That's like my baseline. However, in business, like when I was a project manager, even as a nurse, as a project manager, and again, that was another entrepreneurial journey in business. And then even in my current businesses, I'm a D.
Mhm.
I'm an ID. I'll say this. I'm an ID, but outside of business, I'm an I all day long. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. If
I'll
you get
explain
me
those later to you guys,
out of
y'all.
this stuff
Yeah.
in my element,
Yeah.
I could have probably been a comedian. I could have been
What?
an oh yeah. See, we gotta hang out a little bit longer, okay?
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So again, it depends on what environment we're in or
Mhm.
what have you.
For
But
sure.
those are the things that I'm working on. And these are the things
Mhm.
that I kind of teach along the way because I'm like, don't be like me. Trust me, these things are coming up ahead of you in your business
Mhm.
if you don't recognize them and address them now. It's great to have freedom and autonomy, but if you don't create a structure and a boundary and put
Right.
those things in place, a system in place early on, you're gonna downfall real quick.
Yeah.
So
It's
you
gonna,
got to
yeah.
do these things. It
So
just is what it
true.
is.
So true. And I just want to add to this too, because a lot of times when we hear, depending on your personality, when you hear structure, when you hear schedule, when you hear boundaries,
Ugh.
that can be a
Mhm.
little off-putting
It is.
to some. To some people, they're like, "Oh yes, yay!" To me, not so much. I understand the value of them, but I will say this: it doesn't have to look like you get to create what that structure looks like. And I want to bring this, I really want to I can't overemphasize this enough because when I built my first several businesses and they
Mhm.
were multi six-figure businesses, I worked all the time around the clock to the
Yeah.
detriment of my health, family, friend, everything, because I thought that's what I had to do because that's what I saw modeled. And so I was very intentional when I started my holistic health business. I was very intentional. I'm like, okay, what we're not going to do is that. We're not
Yeah.
going to do a repeat of that. And so I will say now, probably for the last year, probably 2 years, my schedule, people always like they laugh, not laugh at my schedule. They're amazed at my schedule. I work on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays,
I like that.
and they're not 12-hour days.
I like your schedule.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. My day doesn't start my work day typically doesn't start till noon on those days. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, they're off days. I might do some admin stuff sometimes on Mondays or Fridays, but for the most part, 99% of the time, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, my day starts around, noon or 2. And then I go to about 6:30, 7 again, because that's what works for me.
Mhm.
But and I just make sure whatever I need to get done, I get done in those hours because my core value is freedom.
Freedom.
Well, my core value, my number one core value is love. And
Mhm.
if I feel like my being able to receive or give love is infringed upon in any way, I'm out. Same thing with my time and freedom. So time and freedom kind of go hand in hand for me. And so if I feel like any of those are being, infringed upon, I'm like, like I know that something's out of alignment and I need to make some adjustments.
Mhm.
And so I just share that because in terms of scheduling, people think, oh, schedule, oh, I have to do 9 to, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. It could be, this is your business.
Whatever you
It can
want.
be whatever it is that you want. And I encourage you to, and also I think a misnomer is, well, initially I have to do whatever it takes. Yes, but you can still have parameters. It doesn't have to be, again, Monday through Friday, sun up to sundown. It can be, 3 days or whatever works for you, particularly so that you are protecting those core values,
Yes.
whatever your core values are.
I wish
Beyond
somebody
that, do
would
what you
have
want to
set
do.
me down. I wish somebody would have set me down and would have really talked to me about it. And
Yeah.
I'm the type person, because my pain level is so high, my physical pain level is high, right?
Mhm.
So is my emotional pain level, right? I'll just
Interesting.
keep doing stuff. Oh, I'll complain about it. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
tired. I'm stressed out. I'm up till 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'll
Yeah.
just keep doing it until I hit boom. And then it's like, oh, wait a
Right.
minute.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I should create some type of boundary here.
Mhm.
Oh, I am the boss, so I can
I can
create the
create it.
boundary. I can ask the team, let's not start until 10 o'clock because I don't like being up or I want to go work out at that time.
Yes,
I can create that and be unapologetic about that. That's
absolutely.
the key part of it.
It is because you're the boss.
You're the boss.
You're the boss. So this has been so good. This has been such a great conversation. Any last parting words that you would like to share with our audience today?
I would like to say, first of all, thank you guys for tuning in and listening. I hope that you've gotten some type of gems or tips out of what we've been saying. One thing I would like to say is that each and every one of us has something special that God has blessed us with, a specific gift, a calling, something that we can do better than anybody else can do, right? People literally flock to you for the thing. And so I don't want you to ever for 1 second to take a back seat to that. Understand and recognize just how important the gift is, and it's meant to be given away. So if God is calling you to do a thing, then act upon that thing. Sometimes the thing may be to launch a business that helps single moms out or helps young people out or whatever. And if you allow fear to get in the way of the thing, then look at how many people suffer because you're not being obedient to what God has called you to do. So at the end of the day, I want us to recognize just how important those very specific gifts are that we have and how important it means to share them and help someone else along the way. If you are scared, you're nervous, do it. Do it anyways. Do it scared. If you don't know, then get somebody that does know. Because you're not the first nurse, you're not the first entrepreneur, you're not the first female, you're not the first mom. Somebody has done this ahead of you. They may not have all of the answers, but they will have some of them, and they could put you on track and get you to where you need to be. And I'm a firm believer that God will give you exactly what you need.
Always.
You just got to trust and believe it. You just have to trust and sit in that. Okay. So that's what I want to leave us with.
I love that. That is so, so, so beautiful. So beautiful. And it made me think when I asked you, what did you get to give up? What did you get to release, in order to be where you are now? And you brought up the word fear. And that would be my answer. The thing that I chose to release so that I can be where I am now and make the impact that I am here to make now is I had to break up with fear. I didn't have to, but I chose. Because here's the thing, you don't have to, but I did choose to. And it was a very conscious decision because, I want everyone listening to think about what has fear held you back from doing?
Mm-hmm.
How many people have been affected, to Alvionna's point a second ago? How many people are waiting on you to step beyond that fear? I mean, and I'm asking this not as a rhetorical question. I really do want you guys who are listening to answer that question for yourself. People are waiting on you. No one can do what you can do the way you can do it. They're waiting on you. There are people that are assigned to you
specifically.
Specifically. And so my invitation to everyone listening is I invite you to write a dear fear. It's not you, it's me. Break up. Write a letter to break up with fear. Seriously. You can write that down. No, seriously, because it's so important. Because it will, if you allow it, stop you dead in your tracks and prevent you from really becoming all that you're wanting to become, creating all that you're wanting to create, being all that you're wanting to be, because of that nasty 4-letter F word.
And having the things that you're wanting to have.
So yes. So on that, thank you for that. Thank you for your time this afternoon. And I know people are going to be like, okay, wait, what is this B&E? How can I find it? Who is this lady? I love her. How can I connect with her? So where can people get more of you?
Listen, we have a website. It is https. What is that? Semicolon? Colon.
Something like that.
Colon // blacknurseentrepreneurs.org. And we are also Black Nurse Entrepreneurs across literally every social media platform: TikTok, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So you can do at Black Nurse Entrepreneurs, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna find us.
Yeah. And let me just say, I'm just going to co-sign. You got to be there. You need to be there. BNE is a phenomenal community.
Thank you.
Empowering. Yes. And I love, and I know I say this all the time, but I mean it. It's just you have created such a phenomenal community of support, of resources, like-minded women. It's amazing. And I'm glad that you did, because somebody had to do it, and you were the chosen one.
I don't know how I got this position, but you know,
hey,
it's been a really good, fun ride.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that, you guys, again, thank you so much, Alvionna.
You're welcome.
And we will bring this podcast episode to an end. I will tell you guys, stay tuned. You know, I'm always bringing you just beautiful, incredible, phenomenal nursepreneurs, so that I can really help you paint the picture for you, help you break belief barriers, help you see what's possible for yourself. And so until next time, I will see you later. So see you and for the next Sharice Williams show. Bye for now.